that or to urge the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Higher Education Loans Board, commonly abbreviated as HELB, and the Universities Fund, to formally integrate teacher training college students into the new funding model to ensure equity, quality, and inclusivity in the education sector, and also to develop regulations and guidelines to define the eligibility criteria for teacher training college students, covering tuition and reasonable accommodation and upkeep costs. This is a motion that the mover has cited various constitutional provisions, that is according to the Constitution of Kenya, Article 43, that guarantees every citizen a right to education, and Article 53, which provides that basic education is free and compulsory. Also in line with that is that the government of Kenya launched the new education funding model in 2023, primarily targeting university and tertiary and vocational education and training students, leaving a significant gap in the financial support for students in diploma and certificate teacher training colleges, that is TTCs, and also that students enrolled in public teacher training colleges are discriminated against and not expressly and fully provided for under the prevailing higher education financing framework, hence limiting or excluding their access to structured government support for tuition and accommodation, and also the transition to competency-based curriculum, that is CBC, requires a highly skilled teaching workforce, and that the financial burden on teacher trainees, many of whom come from marginalized backgrounds, threatens the sustainability of the teacher supply chain. So it is on this backdrop that the Honorable Senator moved this particular motion, and the Senate, as they consider this, their resolution will be to the Ministry of Education and the HELB. That is the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Jeffer Kingi, has made his way into the chamber to preside over this afternoon sitting. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Good afternoon.
Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka, sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba utuajalie tuyatende na kufikia mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Cloud, do we have quorum? Sergeant at arms can ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
The prayer has been said and the chair taken. However, the quorum is yet to be attained. That is at the commencement of the sitting of the Senate. The Speaker has directed that the quorum bell be rung This is to give room to the senators to be able to make their way into the chamber, join their colleagues, and also, most importantly, enable the House raise that much needed quorum for the sitting of the Senate to be able to commence. This afternoon also, as we wait for the members to correct, or the House to correct, then we shall continue to take a look at that which they will be transacting this afternoon. There is a bill regarding the agriculture produce minimum guaranteed returns. This is a bill originating from the Senate, sponsored by Honorable nominated Senator Veronica Maina. It is a bill that is at its second reading stage. This afternoon, business on this bill will be resuming of debate, or resumption of debate, that was interrupted on the 10th of March, the year 2026. The mover shall be called to reply, but just a glimpse at what exactly minimum guaranteed returns in the agriculture sector means is that it's a minimum support price or price floors or policies where the government promises farmers a baseline price for their produce. This is around key crops like maize, coffee, sugarcane, and milk. And the importance of this move, if you look at the Kenyan context, is that agriculture in Kenya is highly vulnerable to price swings due to weather, middlemen, as well as global market changes. And hence, the minimum guaranteed returns ensures that farmers earn predictable income even when the market prices fall. This will help smallholder farmers who dominate the Kenyan agriculture to avoid losses, and also encourages long-term planning and also investments. It also helps in protection from exploitation for farmers who sell to brokers at very low prices, especially during harvest gluts. And the minimum guaranteed returns reduces or helps to reduce dependence on middlemen, and also strengthens farmers' bargaining power, and also supports fairer value distribution along the supply chain. So basically, this is just a glimpse into what this particular bill, or the minimum guaranteed returns, means or seeks to be able to bring on board into the agricultural sector in the country. And it is a bill that debate on it took place on the floor of the House this afternoon. The resumption of debate will be regarding that the mover be called to reply on the debate that took place in the floor of the House. If you're just joining us, is that the House is about to commence its sitting. There is a quorum hitch. The Speaker has directed that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. Of course, this is as provided for in the House Standing Order number 40, that number 39 indicates that at least 15 senators shall be in the chamber for the House to be deemed to have corrected. If that is not present, then Standing Order number 40 directs that the quorum bell be rung for the House to be able to correct and for it to be able to commence. This afternoon, pursuant to provisions of the House Standing Order 53, paragraph 1, the Senator for Machakos County, Honorable Agnes Kavindu, will seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labour. All right, the quorum seems to have been...
Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion.
Order number 6 is deferred. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 53-1. The Honorable Senator from Machakos County, Senator Agnes Kavindu. That statement is dropped. Next order.
An issue with that can control number so that she can reply. But we do balance.
Order number 8, the Agriculture Produce Minimum Guaranteed Returns Bill, Senate Bills number 17 of 2025. Mover to reply.
Now, debate on this order had concluded. I now call upon the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to reply in this motion that is before you today. Honorable Speaker, as I had earlier mentioned, and as I had earlier debated on this bill, this is a bill that brings reprieve to the small-scale farmers. And I want to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all the senators who have contributed to this motion. I know Senator Medhu did, Senator Wamatinga, and so many other senators who found, and Senator Ledama Olekina, Senator Chirarige, Senator Manzo, and many other senators who responded, who debated this bill, and saw the need for this bill, this law to be enacted. Honorable Senators, the purpose of this bill, once again, is to ensure that we have food security in our country, that people who invest in agriculture, especially small-scale traders, can find hope, a ray of hope, and that the funds that are being devolved for agriculture to the counties, there will be an accountability mechanism so that those funds are fed into where they're supposed to be fed, and the productivity of farmers can be determined and can be weighed and can be scaled, honorable senators. And Honorable Speaker, if I remember what happened to Murang'a County just the other day, with farmers being asked to harvest mangoes and expecting the county to purchase those mangoes, and tons of mangoes were wasted and they rotted in their backyards. Honorable Speaker, the enactment of this law would ensure that such farmers do not walk back to their homes empty-handed from their farms, but that in such an eventuality, Murang'a County government would have been held to account on the tonnage of mangoes that were wasted because of being harvested, them expecting the county to organize and arrange for these mangoes to be purchased, and the county failing to turn up, and the county failing to allocate any resources, even from the agriculture resource allocation. So, Honorable Speaker, this bill will arrest that situation. It is also going to ensure that the youths who are jobless can at least invest in agriculture, can take a glance at the opportunities that are available within the agripreneurship sector, so that we do not have young people working without any jobs in the city, looking for white-collar jobs, while in actual fact, jobs could be found within the counties, and every county could have an allocation. And when it comes to how this fund gets resourced...
Honorable Senator, are you moving the bill or you're replying?
I am replying
Then
to the
reply.
issues that were raised
Reply to the
by the
issues
senators.
that were raised by your colleagues.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, these are the issues that were raised by some of the colleagues, because Honorable Senator Ledama Olekina had concerns about how the fund that you pay the farmers will be resourced, Honorable Speaker, and that's why I'm responding to that issue. That the bill offers different streams of income that would then ensure that the fund is available. It would be what is allocated by the national government to the county governments, and what the counties are able to fundraise for themselves from other sources. That would then form the fund that would be used to resource the farmers using this framework. And once again, this bill would ensure that it's streamlined towards the better, the framework that the government has and the bottom-up economic transformation model. So, Honorable Speaker, with those remarks, I beg to reply. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, under Order 66, I would request that you defer the putting of the question.
Okay, the putting of the question is hereby deferred. Next order.
Speaker, we are likely to make progress.
Order number 8, the Culture Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2024, second reading, division.
That order is deferred. Next.
Order number 10, the Public Audit Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 4 of 2024, second reading, division.
That order is deferred. Next order.
Order number 11, the Health Amendments Bill, Senate Bills number 12 of 2025, second reading, division.
That order is deferred. Next order.
Order number 12, Committee of the Whole, the Nuts and Oil Crops Development Bill, Senate Bills number 47 of 2023.
Order number 12, all the way to order number 21. Those orders are deferred. We'll move to order number 22.
Order number 22, motion, inclusion of teacher training college students in the higher education funding model, resumption of debate.
It's on the floor.
Now, Honorable Senators, the floor is open for debate on order number 22. But before I give an opportunity to Honorable Senators to contribute, allow me to pass this communication. Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the Speaker's Gallery this afternoon of Ms. Gabriela Murimi, a grade 10 student from Braeburn Garden Estate International School, who is undertaking a one-week service in the Senate under the school's voluntary service scheme. I request Ms. Murimi to stand so that she may be acknowledged in the Senate tradition. Now, Honorable Senators, on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, I extend a warm welcome to her and wish her a fruitful visit. I will call upon the Senator for Nairobi City County to extend a word of welcome.
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, I don't know if Ms. Murimi knows this, but this is the actual first time that only one person is sitting in that speaker's gallery from one specific school. Usually we have hundreds of students, so we are honored. I guess you are the guest of honor this afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to the Senate. It's such a rare sight, and I can assure you that it is lighter on the Nairobi delegation when it's just one student to deal with the KFC concerns. I want her to know, Ms. Murimi, that we have a large delegation in the Senate from Nairobi. There's a total complement of 7 senators from Nairobi. I am the only male senator in that group. The rest are lovely ladies like yourself. So I want to encourage you. They are here. The Honorable Karen Nyamu, she's a senator. She's from Nairobi. The Honorable Catherine Muma is here. She's part of my delegation from Nairobi. I think even Senator Veronica Maina. We are many. So we want to welcome you to the Senate. And because you have undertaken, you will notice that I get heckled a lot by upcountry senators, but we have known how to deal with it. So, Speaker, because the lovely lady here needs to get some inspiration from the lady senators, if it's not too much trouble, you could give one member of the delegation who's a lady to say something, even if it's Senator Karen Nyamu or Senator Veronica Maina. With your permission, Speaker, of course, I've requested on behalf of the delegate.
Senator Karen.
Thank you, Speaker. Just come to the dispatch, Karen. Come to the dispatch.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and my head of delegation, Senator Sifuna, and maybe I should take this opportunity to state for everyone to know today that Mimi Sio Sifuna. Madam, welcome to the Senate. And Mr. Speaker, probably you should have made it clear which service to the Senate she's offering, because I saw Senator Cherelgei getting very excited when she saw a lady. Yeah, it's good to clarify it. You might think that she's going to do your notes or your, it's good to specify which service that she's going to offer the Senate. So welcome very much to the Senate, my dear, if I should say that. This is a house where we take care of our county governments. We fight for the interests of the county. We fight for funds to go to our counties, and we make laws that are relevant to all counties. And we hope that you're going to have a wealth of knowledge, that you're going to get good experience here, and we hope you get inspired that one day you will also be a leader here. Welcome, and we are here if you need any support. Thank you.
Now we go back to the debate on order number 22. Honorable Senator Richard Onyonka.
Mr. Speaker, the truth is that could I pass this, because
I saw you struggle. I understand.
My apologies.
Senator Wamatenga. Senator Wamatenga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me an opportunity to contribute to this important debate. Mr. Speaker, sir, the formulation of new education model that is supposed to address the issues that we faced since we became independent. We've seen, Mr. Speaker, a situation whereby the system has not been alive to the fact that there are different people and students who come from different backgrounds. Mr. Speaker, sir, we've had a system where even children from rich families have gone ahead and enjoyed what has been raised through taxes to enjoy financing of higher education model. Mr. Speaker, across the world, we know that systems are created and structures are made to ensure that they address the prevailing circumstances under which people find themselves, and they do address the real dynamic issues as they are. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, it came with a bit of surprise to many of us that as we are talking about the TVET, as we're talking about the university models, as we're talking about the KMTC, that we left out a very, very significant part of financing teachers going to teachers training college. Mr. Speaker, sir, we know that the new CBE calls for early thinking, early modeling, early tooling of the way we've approached our education from the inception of, since independence. We have a model, Mr. Speaker, that seeks to promote, that seeks to identify, and most importantly, to enhance and give even children who are all gifted in different ways other than academic, an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that they can use their talent, they can use their skills to make their livelihood. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, leaving colleges of teachers training, not financing the students, Mr. Speaker, we disadvantage the very same model that is supposed to address some of the issues that have been a major challenge to this country. Mr. Speaker, it may not surprise many of us today trying to get someone to work as an artisan, as a plumber, someone trying to work as a welder. Some of these skills, Mr. Speaker, because of our emphasis on pure academic excellence, which mostly is based on theoretical frameworks, has been given a priority at the expense of the very, very broad and most importantly, technical basis that we need to build our country. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is no one single economy in this world that can grow without having the wide basis of technicians, of skills. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is important, as we are moving this country to Canaan, down the way to Singapore, that we make sure that we have the right technical skills, that we embed these technical skills in none other, Mr. Speaker, by ensuring that we retool our teachers to be able to cope with that situation. But how can that be done, Mr. Speaker? It can only be done by ensuring that we give same opportunities to people who are going to teachers training college, the same opportunities we give to people going to do degrees, to give the same opportunity to people going to KMTC, and therefore, Mr. Speaker, ensuring that the product we have from our schools, from our JSS, from our primary school, from our secondary school, is up to the task, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is important that as we are mainstreaming these other departments, as we are mainstreaming these other educational sectors, that we ensure the most important sector that produces our academics is teaching. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is constitutionally right, it is morally right, and we must do it today if we want to have a country that is self-sustaining. Mr. Speaker, we know some years back, people used to be hailed when they go to big-name schools, Mr. Speaker. Those of us who went to polling stations as schools, Mr. Speaker, we had to struggle to prove our worth. I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, that many of us sitting in this house went to those polling stations, and now we are here and proven that we are equal. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, that is why it is imperative that as we craft around the education model, we mainstream teaching colleges, teachers training colleges, so that they are mainstream to ensure that we get the right teachers. Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, Mr.
What
Speaker,
is your point of order, Senator Kinyua? What is so disorderly about Senator Wamatinga?
Bwana Spika, unajua ni kulingana vile alivyosema tu wale walioenda katika shule ambazo ni polling center. Bwana Spika, hiyo ni kejeli. Kuna wanafunzi wengi walizwa katika zile shule. Tunapaswa kuwapa motisha badala ya kuja hapa katika bunge hili na kukejeli watu. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Wamatinga, you may proceed. You are not in any way out of order.
Thank you very much.
You should be proud that your school is also doubling as a polling station. You should be proud of that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So indeed, that was meant to be a compliment because not many of us made it to those super and high schools. But what I intended to say is that the opportunity to any Kenyan, regardless of which school they go to, must be improved by the fact that we've trained the teachers uniformly so that they can be able to deliver on the quality of the students that they produce. Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to say, and I'm sure that my colleague from Laikipia understands this, it is very, very important that we ensure that the quality of the education given in our schools is the right quality. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, at times it's very heartening to see that a teacher will do everything possible to get him or herself trained and still struggle to even get that job. And once they get even that placement, Mr. Speaker, they do not get the like facilities. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, what we are saying as a country, we are saying it is the high time we delink education from your background. It is the high time, Mr. Speaker, that we give every child born in this country an opportunity to become somebody, not because they went to a particular school, but because their trainers were trained in a standard, uniform way so that the end product will have the same uniformity. Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, I would want to say that this is a step that we've missed many, many decades ago. This is the right time to make it good, Mr. Speaker. But as we are doing that, Mr. Speaker, it is also imperative that we ensure that the quality of the colleges and the teachers training college that we have has some general infrastructures that will allow them, Mr. Speaker. We can see in CBE, there is one requirement, Mr. Speaker, that kids must learn computer programming. But the infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, is not there. The teachers are not there. People do not have that training. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, during the Christmas holidays, I was the only senator who took it upon himself to train teachers in primary and JSS in Scratch coding, in Python programming, because I realized that the world is moving digital and this is a pace that we must keep up with. I support, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Senator Sifuna.
Speaker, I was signaling the Sergeant at Arms to ensure that Ms. Murimi is here to hear her senator contribute to the debate this afternoon. Ms. Murimi, the motion that is before us this afternoon, Speaker, if you allow me to just address her a bit.
You may.
Don't be jealous. Mr. Speaker, I was saying that the motion before us seeks to have a resolution of this House to include teachers or people who go for training as teachers in the higher education funding. So as it is right now, there are very few at the tertiary level of education who actually get access to funding. So this is what this House is trying to achieve through this motion. I want to confirm to you, Mr. Speaker, and you already know this, I suspect, I'm a child of a teacher. My mother went to a teachers training college called Asumbi. Yes, somewhere in Nyanza there, Honorable Speaker. I also want to confirm that I am a product of public education. I am a product of public education. Unlike Ms. Murimi, who has found herself at Braeburn, I went to a primary school called Kakamega Township Primary School, which Senator Khalwale knows very well, in Amalemba. Honorable Speaker, after I finished that, I went to Musingu High School, which Senator Khalwale is very familiar with. And Honorable Speaker, when I qualified to do law at the University of Nairobi, I want to confirm here that I was educated under the support and funding of the Higher Education Loans Board. I also want to confirm that immediately I finished in 2006, 2007, I have been able, because the environment then was such that if you finished university, you would get something to do. I was able to clear my loan before I ever became a candidate for election in 2017. I have a certificate from the Higher Education Loans Board saying that I have cleared all my dues at the, from the University of Nairobi. Speaker, unfortunately for many Kenyans and young students, that is no longer the case. We saw a report last week in the media that over 500,000 people who have graduated from the universities are unable to service their loans. Mr. Speaker, when I spoke to this issue, because I remember the very first time I got a job, I didn't have to tell HELB that I had gotten a job. Because they had my details, they immediately began deducting HELB. And if there's 500,000 graduates who are unable to start paying back their loan, what that tells you, Honorable Speaker, is that there is a problem. We are graduating people, but there are no opportunities for them to exercise or to get jobs in accordance with what they studied at the universities. We have had fights, debates here from the political side. You know, we don't belong to the same political camps. There are those who believe that kazi ni kazi, Honorable Speaker. There are those of us who believe that a job cannot just be called a job. We need a job that is commensurate with your training, that can actually uplift you and your family from poverty. Speaker, that same report talks about 90 billion Kenya shillings owed to the Higher Education Loans Board as we speak from people who are unable to pay. Mr. Speaker, therefore, my concern really is we are adding another group of higher education students to this university funding model or higher education funding model that has a lot of challenges. It has a lot of challenges, Honorable Speaker, and I'm wondering whether indeed we are ready and prepared as a country to be able to absorb the new numbers of the teachers who will also come under this program. Speaker, if the Higher Education Loans Board was properly financed, including from receipts of the people who already were beneficiaries and are paying back, I think it is possible for us to be able to add more people. You cannot look anyone in the eye who's looking for higher education at any level, whether it's a teacher or whether they are in KMTC or in these other institutions, and tell them that somehow because you went to the University of Nairobi to study law, you deserved the loan more than them. Because we all come from diverse backgrounds, Honorable Speaker, irrespective of what we decided to pursue at higher level. If you look at the numbers, they are saying, Honorable Speaker, that in 2025-2026 financial year, almost 1.1 million students needed financing. This is according to statistics from the Higher Education Loans Board itself and the university's placement system. But we were only able to finance about 650,000 of those people, meaning, Honorable Speaker, that for every 3 applicants, 2 of them will get and 1 will miss out. And the data shows, Honorable Speaker, that these numbers have been rising actually. In the previous financial years, we had only maybe 170,000 missing out, then it went to 270, then to 380. And then if you ask, who are these people who are missing out, Speaker, because of the new system that was introduced, if you ask who is missing out, if you are not poor enough to fit into that thing they call means testing, Honorable Speaker, you will miss out. If you lie between not poor enough and not rich enough to be able to pay for your own university fees, those are the people who are missing out on these applications. If you remember, those of us who are beneficiaries of HELB, Honorable Speaker, we would go to, you know, there was a way in which it was ascertained that you are a person of low means. Even our chiefs were involved. You know, Speaker, I told you that I am a beneficiary of HELB. Because of my name, some people think that I come from you know, they say I'm a dynasty. But that is not the truth. Speaker, we were poor. Growing up, we were very poor. Because my father, that's what I'm telling you. If I showed you my mother's payslip, you would weep. You people have more money on M-Pesa than how much money teachers earn in a month. If I check their balances right now. So, Honorable Speaker, can I tell my own story? Why are people heckling me?
Order, Honorable Senators, order. Senator Fernandi, Senator Joyce Korir, you don't have to give the story of your husband, please.
Yeah. Speaker, if you are here, you have your own parents. You have a mother and a father. You can tell the story of your circumstances growing up. Allow me to tell mine. So, Speaker, at that particular moment in time, they used to involve even the chiefs to be able to ascertain, and there are forms that would be able to fill, to ascertain that you are a person who was eligible for these loans. So, Speaker, we have a situation where that means testing has become a bit problematic, Honorable Speaker. And there have been many complaints. And all of us have had those complaints that that system is not working in the way that it is supposed to work. They have raised questions about the transparency of that system, of the means testing. It is shrouded in a lot of mystery. People don't know whether it is accurate or whether after that means testing is applied, the result is actually accurate to portray your status in life and whether you deserve this particular financing. So for me, the idea would be this. We as a house, we support a motion such as this because you cannot argue that people who are going to the universities are somehow better deserving than those who go to the KMTCs or the ones who go to the TTCs. We can agree, all of us, that all Kenyan people deserve, if you wanted to pursue higher education or tertiary education, you deserve the support of the Higher Education Loans Board. Speaker, is there enough funding towards education in the country? No. We have demonstrated to you and to this House that there are very serious financing gaps that leave 1 out of 3 applicants unable to access that particular loan. Then, of course, Honorable Speaker, if you listen to the young people, they're also telling us that even the problems we have with the counties in terms of frequency of disbursement, even the disbursement of the loans for those who qualify is a problem. And therefore, we need to relook at the entire sector. Let us agree that we need to put priority to getting our people good education at the tertiary level and make sure that we resource it properly so that no category is left out. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support.
Senator Mungatana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to make my comments on this motion. Mr. Speaker, I start by congratulating the Honorable Nyutu for moving a very good motion that will promote the discussions around the funding of education in this country. Mr. Speaker, every time we talk about education, I am reminded of the country called Cuba. In Cuba, Mr. Speaker, education is fully funded. Even old people, Mr. Speaker, they go for their second, their third degrees because education, Mr. Speaker, is very well funded. And you'll remember, Mr. Speaker, there was a time in the past administration when we got support from very many Cuban doctors. Because in that country, Mr. Speaker, it is just you to stop going to school when you want to. So this motion is bringing again the question of how we should fund our education and whether we can now include teachers training colleges into the existing funding. The second bit of that motion, Mr. Speaker, is just consequential on the first one, saying that we need to create the necessary guidelines. May I begin, Mr. Speaker, by saying facts are facts. Kenya, compared to its neighbors, we are sincerely funding education at a very high percentage of our budget. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, one of the things that this country boasts of and takes pride in is that we are a nation of very well educated people. We have a reputation out there of very hardworking and very well educated people. And Mr. Speaker, it's because of the investment in terms of funding of education in this country. Mr. Speaker, looking at the financial year 2025-2026, the immediate preceding financial year, the total allocation for education was 702.7 billion. And this, Mr. Speaker, was the part of the total budget which we spent last year of 4.24 trillion shillings. So, Mr. Speaker, if you look at it, the money that we are actually spending on education is already quite substantial. And Mr. Speaker, if you go in terms of sector allocation, education in Kenya takes about 28% of the total budget that goes in terms of sector funding. And Mr. Speaker, most of the money goes to paying the salaries of the teachers and funding primary, secondary education, together funding university education. Mr. Speaker, what this motion is seeking is that aside from what is already being provided for in terms of the university loans, they want us also in this motion that this Senate should say teachers training college students should also benefit. And Mr. Speaker, the intention is good, but I think we need to give a lot of thinking around it. We need to be creative. Really, can Minister for Education go back to Treasury and ask for more, knowing that he's already collecting 28% of the sector funding in terms of budgetary allocation? So, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to think more around this question, and this is where I would invite a lot of thinking from those who are in the academia, and particularly those who are in education funding. How can we make sure that we include the teacher training college going students also in this sector? Mr. Speaker, to make the case for these students who are going to teachers training colleges, it is obvious, Mr. Speaker, that they also require. There's no doubt about that. In fact, Mr. Speaker, just 2-3 days ago, some of the students who are coming from Tana River County were being put out of exam just here in Shanzu Teachers College, and we had to intervene, which means, Mr. Speaker, it is personal sacrifice to keep those students in university, in the college, so that they can attend for the exam, because this is the examination period. So the case is there. The case is there, Mr. Speaker. The many students who are attending are unable. And I really want to thank the teachers training colleges, and I'm singling out Shanzu Teachers College because of my recent experience there. Mr. Speaker, you will find that they do everything possible to keep the students there. But then when it's time for exams, they tell the students, now you have 45,000 to pay, you have 20,000 to pay, you have 60,000 to pay, go and get something so that you can be able to sit for the examination. So I know the pressure is there, and the students who come to those schools, many of them, Mr. Speaker, are not able to raise the amounts that are required. Basically, if you look, Mr. Speaker, they pay about 70,000 a year for that education, and that is excluding their living expenses, excluding all the other requirements for school. So, Mr. Speaker, the case is there, but is it enough for this Senate to just say, let us include them and leave it there? I think, Mr. Speaker, we need to think around what models we can use. And we are not inventing the wheel. Other countries, Mr. Speaker, have done it. They have been able to actually fund teachers training colleges because we need them and we need to support the students who are there. But how are we going to do it? This is the elephant in the room. Mr. Speaker, I want to start there. During our time, we just used to have uniform funding, which at that time we used to call it boom. Everybody would get the same amount, and it doesn't matter what your social standing was or your circumstances, we will all get the same amount and expected to live through there. Mr. Speaker, I think the current president has made a very good attempt using the same professors to try and think, why should a person whose father and mother are in business, earning so much money, going to a private school, getting very quality private education, pay the same as a person who has gone to a public school all their life? They've not even been able to clear their secondary school fees. And Mr. Speaker, through the universities, the professors and that team that the President constituted, they started actually trying to look at a model. And Mr. Speaker, although there has been difficulties in the implementation of this model because of the bans, because of means testing, I think we have started the actual conversation in this one. It's unfortunate that the TTCs were not included, and I think this motion is trying to urge that they be included. But there is a reason, because it would mean billions more, Mr. Speaker, on the budget. And already I have said 28% of the sector allocations go to education in Kenya. So, Mr. Speaker, what is the way forward? I think one of the things that we could do is to create yet another model that will involve possibly the funds that are already allocated to the other colleges, the universities and so on, can be hived off so that some of it can go to the deserving students in teachers' training colleges. And this is what we need to ask our academia to think about. Because, Mr. Speaker, we have some of the best brains around Africa. And I know in the finance departments of various universities here in Kenya, we could find a solution. Because the solution cannot be that we take mass action, you know, like all the students will not work. It will collapse the system of funding. But I think it is in between taking as many students as possible and cutting some of the funding that is already allocated to the other models of funding. And Mr. Speaker, this is a tough decision to make. It's a tough conversation we must have. But if the only amount that is available for the week is a 1/4 kilogram meat, there must be a way that we can spread it from Monday to Friday. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion cautiously, saying that we need to think outside the box. The resources are not enough, but yes, there is a need for us to include the teacher training college going students so that they are not left out completely. And we must find a way to think around these issues so that we have a credible, scientific model that can apply across the entire country, particularly to counties such as mine, where many of the students who are going to these teachers training colleges suffer because of lack of means to sustain themselves in those colleges. So, Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Maruma.
Asante, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hii fursa umenipa ili kuchangia huu mjadala ambao umeletwa na Senator wa Murang'a, Senator Joe Nyutu, kuhusu kupatia mikopo walimu walio katika vyuo vya walimu. Mheshimiwa Spika, niko katika kamati ya elimu ya Seneti inayoongozwa na Mheshimiwa Betty Montet, na hili swala mara si moja, si mara mbili, mara nyingi tumelileta kwa wale maafisa na mawaziri wanaohusika na kupeana hii mikopo na kupeana ufadhili wa elimu. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni jambo la kuudhi, jambo la kushangaza ni kwa nini vyuo vya walimu vinatengwa kupatiwa mikopo ya Higher Education Loans Board, Mheshimiwa Speaker, ama bodi ya kupeana mkopo. Ukiangalia vyuo vya vikuu vyote vinapatiwa mikopo, vyuo vya kitaifa vya anuai vinapatiwa mikopo, na pia vyuo vya kufunza elimu ya matibabu ama KMTCs zinapatiwa hii mikopo. Na la kushangaza ni kwa nini vyuo vya walimu vinatelekezwa ama vinanyimwa hii mikopo. Kihistoria, Mheshimiwa Speaker, hii taaluma ya walimu ni taaluma ambayo kidogo imedharauliwa. Wakati nikifanya masomo yangu ya uzamili kule Dar es Salaam, tulipata kuongea na wenzetu wa East Africa ama Afrika Mashariki, na Watanzania wengi ambao walikuwa wanaongea Waganda walikuwa nasema, sasa wewe unatakana kwenda chuo kikuu ama kwenda kusomea taaluma, na kwa nini hujapata kwenda kwa taaluma yoyote? Umekosa hata ualimu, umekosa hata kwenda kusomea ualimu. Sasa ukiangalia dhana ambayo iko kwa wananchi wa Afrika Mashariki, wanaona kama ualimu si taaluma ambayo inayofaa. Nafikiri labda ndio sababu wanatelekezwa, wanadharauliwa na kukosa kupatiwa huo ufadhili. Mheshimiwa Speaker, taaluma ya walimu ni muhimu kama zile taaluma zingine. Kwa hivyo kwa kupewa mkopo, inatakana waangaliwe, wapewe mkopo na ufadhili wa elimu, kwa sababu ile kazi ambayo wanafanya kwa kukuza watu wa kufanya kazi, ama ile kwa kimombo tunaita human resource. Mheshimiwa Speaker, huu mjadala unatakana tuje na azimio ama resolution, Mheshimiwa Speaker, la kusema kwamba vyuo vyote vya elimu wapatiwe mkopo na ufadhili kupitia kwa ile bodi ya kupeana mikopo, Mheshimiwa Speaker. Na kabla tufike hapo, Mheshimiwa Speaker, lazima tuelewe ama tukubali kwamba kuna changamoto la mapato ya Kenya katika hazina ya kitaifa. Lakini kama kuna changamoto ya pesa katika hazina ya kitaifa, ni kwa nini tubague basi hii taaluma ya walimu peke yake? Kwa nini tusiwe na njia ya kusema kwamba tunapeana kidogo katika vyuo vya walimu, kidogo katika vyuo vya matibabu ama KMTCs, na tupatie kidogo pia vile vyuo vya kitaifa vya anuai, wale ambao hawajiwezi, ili kuwe na kigezo cha kuwa wale ambao wanajiweza basi wapatiwe fursa ya kujisaidia wao wenyewe. Mheshimiwa Speaker, kumekuwa na changamoto nyingi sana za bodi ya kupeana mikopo, kwa sababu hata wale ambao tayari wanapewa hiyo mikopo, ikiwemo vyuo vya mafunzo ya matibabu ama KMTCs, vyuo vikuu ama universities, na pia vile vyuo vya TVET, Mheshimiwa Speaker, mpaka sasa wengi hawajapewa ile mkopo ambao ni changizo za serikali, kwa sababu katika ule mfumo mpya wa kufadhili elimu Kenya kuna kufadhili mara tatu. Mara ya kwanza ya kufadhili ni ule ufadhili kutokana na serikali, kwa kimombo tunaita scholarship, na njia ya pili ni ile ya mikopo, na njia ya tatu ni ile mzazi anayolipia yeye mwenyewe. Mheshimiwa Speaker, tumekuwa na ma-PS huku katika bunge letu ama kamati yetu ya elimu, na unagundua ya kwamba hata ile pesa ambayo inatakana kutolewa na serikali katika ile scholarship, Mheshimiwa Speaker, vyuo vingi saizi havijapata hiyo pesa, na wako na malimbikizi ya pesa ambazo hawajalipa wakandarasi wao. Mheshimiwa Speaker, watoto wengi ama vijana wengi ambao wanapeleka maombi katika bodi ya mikopo ili kupewa ile mikopo, wengi pia wameachwa nje, na wengi wametoka nje ya shule na kukosa masomo, Mheshimiwa Speaker. Kwa hivyo langu ni kusema kwamba taaluma ya elimu, mimi mwenyewe nikiwa mwalimu wa miaka mingi, karibu ya miongo miwili, nimefundisha hisabati na fizikia, na najua ile kazi ambayo walimu wanafanya ili kupeana masomo na maadili mema na kutengeneza wananchi ambao wanatakikana kutoa huduma za jamii. Hii taaluma ni muhimu sana na haitakikani iwekwe nje ama ibaguliwe wakati taaluma zingine zinapewa kipaumbele katika kufadhiliwa. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kusema ya kwamba kuna maswali mengi maseneta wameuliza kuhusu ufadhili wa elimu, na moja ni swali liliulizwa na Senator wa Nairobi, Senator Edwin Sifuna, ya kupanda kwa elimu yetu ya Kenya, hasa vyuo vya kitaifa vya anuai ama TVETs. Tumeweza kuliingilia kati hilo swala, na nafikiri tuliita PS ambaye anahusika, na nashukuru kwa sababu rais juzi akiwa anaongea alisema ya kwamba ile fee ama ile ada inayotakikana kulipwa na wale wanafunzi imeshuka mpaka 67,000, ingawaje sasa bado hatujaita yule PS ili kutuelezea kama hiyo 67,000 inafaa kulipwa namna gani. Mheshimiwa Spika, pia nikiangalia ile pesa ambayo inalipwa katika vyuo vya walimu ni kama 85,000 kwa mwaka. Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kusema kwamba mimi nikiwa mwalimu sielewi ni kwa nini hivi vyuo viweke ada ama vitoze ada ya shilingi 85,000. Mimi kwangu kibinafsi naona kama hiyo pesa itakuwa ni nyingi sana, kwa sababu shule nyingi za sekondari ambazo ni za kitaifa, ile ada wanaotoza wanafunzi ni kama shilingi 50,000 ama 45,000 kwa mwaka, ikiwemo chakula na nyingine, Mheshimiwa Spika, ya kununua vifaa vya maabara na kadhalika. Sasa sielewi ni kivipi vyuo vya walimu ambavyo vinapata ufadhili wa walimu kutoka kwa tume ya kuajiri walimu ama Teacher Service Commission, ile pesa yote ambao wanatoza vyuo vyetu 85,000 wanaipata namna gani? Kwa hivyo nafikiri baada ya kupitisha huu mswada ni vyema pia hii kamati yetu ya elimu inayoongozwa na Senator Montet, ambayo mimi pia ni mwanakamati, tuite hivi vyuo ama viongozi wa hivi vyuo na permanent secretary pia, labda watuelezee hii pesa wanaitumia namna gani, kwa sababu katika mafikira yangu nafikiria kwamba tunaweza kushukisha bei ama ada inayotozwa kwa hivi vyuo ili wanafunzi wengi zaidi wapate kupata masomo yao, Mheshimiwa Spika, ya elimu. Kwa hivyo mimi naunga mkono moja kwa moja ya kwamba tuweze kutenga pesa katika bajeti ya kuhakikisha ya kwamba wale wanafunzi wanaoenda katika vyuo vya walimu wapate ule mkopo unaopewana na Higher Education Loans Board, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa sababu taaluma ya walimu ni muhimu ama ina umuhimu wa kutoshana na zile taaluma zingine. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hayo machache napenda kuunga mkono huu mjadala. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Karen Nyamu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this motion by Senator Joe Nyutu, Senator from Murang'a, on the exclusion of funding from the higher education funding model, Mr. Speaker. And because it speaks to fairness, it speaks to the reality in our teaching colleges, institutions, Mr. Speaker. In our Constitution guarantees the right to education in Article 43. In the same Constitution, under Article 53, it makes education, basic education, compulsory and free. But let's be honest to ourselves, Mr. Speaker. Education is only as strong as the teacher who is delivering it. And we are disadvantaging our teachers right at the training stage, Mr. Speaker. In 2003, the government rolled out the new model of funding for higher education. But interestingly, it left out the teachers training colleges. And that gives us a very interesting situation where the university student can access HELB loans. A TVET student is supported, but the teacher who's training in colleges is left to figure it out, Mr. Speaker. Then what happens? They start to hustle, they start doing side jobs, they miss classes, and we start having trainees who are on survival mode, Mr. Speaker. We cannot have a quality teacher under such circumstances. And then we bring it closer home. A student from Mathare gets admitted to a training, teachers training college. Their parents are already struggling. And there's no provision for help, there's no structure for upkeep provision, or even guaranteed accommodation, Mr. Speaker, in those institutions for them. So they end up in this situation where they are hustling, they end up doing side hustles instead of attending classes, Mr. Speaker. And that is not the kind of situation that we want to have our teachers in. Our daughters, let's talk about our daughters. A lot of these students in these teachers training colleges are young females. When they don't have any means of survival, we are exposing them to unsafe methods of survival where they could end up getting taken advantage of, Mr. Speaker. And you see that policy gap ends up having our daughters exposed, Mr. Speaker, and that is a gap we need to take care of. At the same time, CBC system requires us to have well-trained teachers, motivated teachers, and teachers who are on top of things. But what do we get? We get demoralized trainees who translate to demoralized teachers. And if we don't fix this, we are going to end up having less trained teachers, a lot of dropouts, and future shortages in our classrooms, Mr. Speaker. Another set of students that need to be supported are students in Kenya School of Law, Mr. Speaker. That is also a tertiary institution. Why are they not included under the new funding model? We would like to see our young lawyers supported, and so that we can have all students under this funding model, Mr. Speaker. I want to support this motion, and I want to congratulate Joe Newton for such a progressive motion. And with those few words, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this motion. Honourable Speaker, I'm a member of the Education Committee and would like to thank Senator John Newton for this very important motion, something that I think has been overlooked over the years. Honourable Speaker, beginning with the constitutional requirement, the failure or the lack of support for teacher training college, for the teachers in TTCs is actually a violation of Article 43. It is access to education is facilitated first from the primary level, and I think we are wearing the dress inside out when we assess the need for support to learning institutions from the universities and fail to actually support the first level of instruction to our learners. And it is something that we need to think about as a country. It is something that the national government executive needs to look at. The ministry needs to actually revisit and ensure that we correct this anomaly. Honorable Speaker, before 1995, education in the universities was for free. That's when we had boom, and Honorable Senator Mungatana, boom was actually money for leisure. University was paid for. We had the halls. We had the food. We ate dialogue in the dining. And then we had boom. Boom was used for boom boxes for the men. That is a music system. And for skirt suits. And the dresses for the girls.
What is your point of order, Senator for Nairobi City County?
Speaker, it's only fair when, I don't want to say older members, when people who were there when these things were happening, when the senior members, thank you, I stand corrected, when they use some of these terms that we don't understand, I don't know how I can say it, they dumb it down for us so that we're able to understand. The way we have dumbed it down for them, phrases like Nikokadi, so that they understand what we are saying. So I am lost. I need to follow the debate, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Catherine Muma, would you simplify so that your colleagues can, especially your young colleagues, can follow?
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, when we went to university, the government supported. We didn't even know what the fees was because it was paid. And then when you came in, you were given a residency. You had a hostel in which you lived. And you could eat in the dining, and the food was good. We had sausage in the morning, bread. We had chapati. We had jelly for, has any of you eaten jelly? There's this new lot. And then you had pocket money. That is what was called boom. And what would happen those days, most of the men would pull their boom for a semester to buy the biggest music system, and the girls would buy clothes. And of course, those who came from struggling families would support their siblings with school fees. Then we moved on from 1995 to 2010, when the issue of bringing in help in terms of the loan to support students came in. Between 2014 and 2022, we then moved on to supporting the TVET when it was recognized that we need a skilled workforce in order for the economy to grow. And I think incrementally and progressively this has been good. But the motion brought by Senator Joe Newtu is actually important in the sense that we have usually charged learners in TTCs, and yet that is the lot that actually focuses on the primary education. And I think in this era and age, particularly when we have 75% of all our population being under 35, and therefore many people who need these services, I think we need to rethink this model and see how we can support this team. Honorable Speaker, now it is a paradox that we are willing to support a diploma in ICT, we are willing to support, but we don't want to support a diploma in the TTC. I think it's a mistake that we need to relook at. I know the bill is big, but Honorable Speaker, education is the #1 equity tool that we have. That is the first opportunity the poorest family has. If their child goes to school, then there is hope that they can actually move through the motions and be able to move from poverty. So it is our first equalization tool, and we need to spend as much as we are able to spend in order to ensure that this happens. Honorable Speaker, last session, we also discussed the wastage of funds within the education sector. We discussed the multiple bursary schemes, the multiple scholarship schemes that are happening, and we have felt that these need to be consolidated. We, as a Committee of Education, we have actually over 30 statements that the CS and the ministry have not responded to. Among these issues, one of the things we think that the Parliament of Kenya must help to do is to consolidate and to ensure that the pilferage of public funds through parallel and overlapping bursary schemes needs to stop. We actually need to relook at this and to aggregate and see how much in terms of funds do we have from the exchequer, from loans taken with the World Bank, from philanthropists, MasterCard and the others, the banks that we have, and how can this be reorganized in order for us to account for every cent. I believe, Honorable Speaker, if we do this, we probably will be able to reorganize the education system in order for that education system to be more valuable to as many learners as possible. And we would be able to actually train as many in the tertiary institutions, including the TTCs, to ensure that our learners have the best skilling tools in terms of the personal resource. Honorable Speaker, if you follow up on with the NGCDF and the other funds that are going to the education sector, everybody is fixated with bursaries. And I have asked before, I asked a question to the Minister for Education, whether he actually knew what development has been delivered by NGCDF. He said he does not know, and yet he's the Minister for Education. He said he does not follow up on NGCDF, so he cannot tell you this is the extent of the development in the education sector by CDF. That is a big problem. We actually need to be able to have the software in terms of the instruction being given to our learners more than classrooms. And classrooms are important, but if you have classrooms, you have books, and every year it is classrooms and books. Every year it is classroom and books. And a list of those who have received bursaries, the same list receiving bursaries from the governors, the same list receiving bursaries from MasterCard, the same list receiving bursaries from the others, there is a problem. We actually need, as a matter of urgency, bearing in mind, as I have said, that education is the first equalizing tool, we need to go back and do our accounts. We need to go and balance and find out. I believe we may very well have enough funds, and we need to reorganize and to see how we move on. Honorable Speaker, even as we are speaking for TTCs, I would want us to tell the House that as a committee, we have actually found that 60% of those who finish O-level are hardly getting any skilling. The larger burden of training those who finish Form 4 to have some sort of skill is actually on counties, because the universities and the tertiary institutions are only taking about 30% or 35%. I believe if you add on the TTCs, you might move that to about 50%. But the TTCs are actually only those who are able to afford to pay. Then you have this entire lot of young people who are not getting any skill, who are supposed to go to VTCs that are under governors, and we have found out that over the past 13 years, governors have not been spending any monies on VTCs. They have actually not been spending good money on the...
Is it a point of information or point of order? Senator Catherine Muma, would you wish to be informed? You may go ahead, Senator Mandago.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like to inform Senator Kathy Muma that a number of counties from 2013 have actually been putting funds for VTCs. I say so as a former governor of Uasin Gishu County who served for 2 terms, and I ensured that there was 13,000 per student capitation for every student attending the VTC. And we made sure in all our 12 VTCs, the enrollment was more than 400, and Senator Betty Montet can bear me witness. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I'd like to take the point made by Honorable Senator Mandago and to actually rephrase what I said, to say that majority of governors have actually not been investing in VTCs and in ECD. In fact, very few have even invested in what you call childcare, that is within that function that has been assigned to them. In Uasin Gishu, we would like to confirm not one more VTC has been built since you left. So we've been checking, and since we started monitoring on this particular function, some governors are busy now trying to build some ECDs. Some had not even built any ECDs. We visited Busia. You saw what we saw. Some of them have all of a sudden realized, my goodness, we are supposed to be doing something. And yet, this is important. Education is important, and both levels, national and county governments, need to imagine the way in which we can actually functionalize our VTCs. Our VTCs are stigmatized. They are called village polytechnics. And because they are called village polytechnics, a number of governors have not seen the need to actually put in funds. So, Senator John Nyutu, I'd like to thank you. I think what you've brought up is absolutely important. But of all the things that I've raised, I think as a House, and possibly together with the National Assembly, we need to seriously do the young people of Kenya a favor and relook at the education system and ensure that we are not dumping our youth after they finish Form 4. That is a time bomb that is awaiting this nation. We congratulate the governments where they have done something, but what needs to be done is a lot more. And I fully, heartedly support the need for TTC training to actually be included in receiving the public funds to support those teachers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Abbas. Yes, Senator Fatuma Dulo, what's your issue?
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. It's not that I wanted to contribute to this motion, but Mr. Speaker, you made a ruling on the floor of this House about 3 weeks ago. And the ruling said that the IG should submit the report on my shooting that happened in Isiolo County by 20th. Today it is 25th. Up to now there is no response from IG. I would request you to intervene, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Now, clerk, ensure the IG appears before the Senate on Tuesday at 2:30 next week. You may proceed, Senator Bass.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to also contribute to the motion. Honorable Speaker, actually, teachers are the most disadvantaged public servants in this country. And teaching is actually a noble career. But of course, it has been taken to be a second fiddle to all other jobs, simply because of the way it is being paid, the way teachers are not taken care of, the way they are not being, welfare is not being taken care of. As you see, when teachers are employed, the remunerations and the other allowances are not even mentioned. But of course, in other civil servants, you hear house allowance is mentioned, health is mentioned, everything is mentioned. But teachers struggle for all those things. And the most disadvantaged, actually, and this is actually a very noble profession. But of course, Kenyans have taken this profession as a second-class business. Honorable Speaker, this country is actually dreaming to be an industrialized country and actually go at the bow with the Singapore has always been sung by everybody and all politicians. But of course, we cannot be able to reach that stage with this kind of, business of, neglecting teachers, not supporting teachers, especially in the education system. Teaching has actually become second option for everybody, each of us, or all those who went to school, because of the way it is being paid, the way it's been handled, and it is not actually taken as serious profession as any other profession. And therefore, if this country has to move forward, I think it is high time that teachers' welfare must be taken care of. They should not be struggling for their health. These are people who are in class almost 24 hours. They stay in classroom. They teach your young kids, handle your kids. While other people have the time even to do their own business outside their job. These are people who never enjoy even live. Honorable Speaker, this country, actually, the CBE scene, I don't know what you call the CBC or CBE, system of education, is saying every Kenyan must go to college after Form 4 and universities. The number of students are increasing, but they don't even have enough infrastructure. The government is spending 700 billion. That's almost 26% of the GDP of the current budget. Out of the 2.7, of course it's 4.7, but what we know, I know what you call it is about 2.7. 700 billion is going for education. And that is not even enough because of the system is not well planned. The CBE system of education that is now currently ongoing is actually creating a class in Kenya. Class system. Because when a student comes to you, the child will tell you, I am given homework, and as a parent you must do. We have pastors who have never gone to school. They don't even know what the ABCD is. The students have been told, go and buy books, go and buy boxes, go and do knitting, go and do cooking. My friend, this is what's supposed to be done by the mothers at home. Exactly. You are making students busy on irrelevant things. You see a class, a primary kid carrying 27 books, encyclopedia. Why will a kid of class 3 who is not even able to read, how are you going to use the encyclopedia? It's actually, the students are now developing handbags carrying loads of books. They are being told to wake up at 5 in the morning. They go there when they're sleeping. They're being taken in schools, round and round. The buses are carrying them, then their kids are sleeping in the buses. That kind of education will never help anybody. Honorable Speaker, one other thing is the system, the new system of education funding is also biased. Because the categorization actually, I don't know, category C, category B, I don't know what it is. I don't know how that is classified. What criteria people are using. Because most of the students cannot be able to meet those criteria, and those criteria have been developed in somebody who can afford to pay school fees for his kids. He doesn't know the sons or the daughters of the poor people, how they look like, where they are. They have been told that this thing is classified, and then class B gets this amount of money, class C gets this kind of, this is not the system that we need to have in this country. Honorable Speaker, I think the old system of funding on health, long-term, these things should be followed. The new system should be done away with. It's very biased, it's confusing, because I am also a parent who pays school fees, even I pay for other funds. And every time I'm being told there's balance, this has not been done, and this has not been paid. One other thing, Honorable Speaker, I've seen is, even in times of admissions, the COOPs, when they admit a student, and if a student wants to move from one course to another course, if you change the course, then you don't get the money. You are bad. Because the student must be given also time to, if somebody wants to do medicine, and is qualified, or she's qualified, and she wants to move to medicine, then they should be allowed. But what happens is, if you move from, if you're a biochemistry student, and then you want to go to medicine, surgery and medicine, then you're told then the government will not sponsor you. This is a very bad system. Honorable Speaker, for us to industrialize, the TVET students must be supported. TVETs are doing a lot of good jobs. They are doing a lot of developing a lot of technology. And it's only through the technical schools and technical colleges that we can be able to get industrialized. Honorable Speaker, the diploma teachers are not even given in bursaries. The students who are doing KMTC diplomas are not given bursaries. And if you look at it, this country, there's so many money, there's a lot of money, plenty of money. There's government sponsorship, there's bursaries from CDF, there's bursary from Jomo Kenyatta Foundation, there's bursary from the president, and this thing only goes to persons who is who and whom you know. It doesn't go to the poor people. Even the teacher who is filling those forms, especially like JKF, you just feel for his those he knows better, and his own student and his kinsmen. So the whole system is rotten, and I think you need to have an overhaul and bring the system of education sponsorships and bursaries together, including even the ones for the bursaries from the MPs. I have been a member of parliament in the National Assembly, and I know what is going on there. It's so biased and skewed politically. Because you only look for those who spotted you. So it's the high time that all these things should be brought together. All this money should be brought to one basket, so that there will be a fair distribution of resources for health and education. Honorable Speaker, the students in the colleges actually are really having problems. Even the TVETs and the teachers' colleges, they are in boarding schools. They are not even paid well. They don't have sponsorship, and the students they are actually almost starving. Yeah, Honorable Speaker, with the 700 billion available for the Ministry of Education, it's the high time that this country must come back to the drawing board, that to look the CBE system. We don't want to play politics in our education system. Most of us who are here today, I'm sure, none of our children are going to schools, public schools. Let's be honest. People have gone to national schools, international schools. They're taking their children to international schools. So you're living the poor people. So what now I'm saying that this class system, simply because you're teaching how to cook and bake breads and these things, then you want to have more domestic workers than what the professionals and the doctors and all these things. You're breeding here and educating more domestic workers. So that's why I'm saying there's a class system in our education system. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to support.
Senator Osotsi.
Mr. Speaker, I want to say that as much as I support this motion, I have looked at the motion, and the motion says that we urge the government to include the teachers training colleges in the funding model. I think, Mr. Speaker, I have said this in this House before, severally, that when we spend time to debate motions, let's focus on motions where we are giving an order, not basically telling government institutions or ministries to urge them. Because when you say urge, it means it's an open check. They can implement it, they can keep it in their shelf, and nothing happens. What we are supposed to say, we are supposed to say that resolve. We are resolving as a house. Mr. Speaker, we are going to spend like 1-2 hours discussing this motion. And after that, nothing happens. It's so sad. So I want to start on that note to say, this is a very good motion. How I wish we were making a resolution. Because by the mere reading of this motion, this is not a resolution, Mr. Speaker, because we are urging the government. We are not making a resolution. So I think those who are drafting these motions from our secretariat, they need to take that into account so that when we sit here and debate and give ideas, let those ideas be implemented by the government. Now, coming to the motion, Mr. Speaker, the spirit you get from this motion is that there is a serious problem with the funding education generally in this country. Because we are saying that we would like teachers training colleges to be included in the funding model. And from the discussions I've heard from the members, they have even talked about including the vocational training centers in this model as well, and many other institutions, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that tells you that overall something has to be done on funding education in this country. And I think as much as we focus too much on brick and mortar, wanting to make roads, wanting to build SGRs, Mr. Speaker, as a country, I think the most important thing we need to do is to invest in our people so that we have cheap labor that we can use in this country and also export it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at our budget, you realize maybe last financial year is when we hit 28% of our budget on education. But in the other years, we were between 16 to 20% of our budget was in education. That means we need to spend more in education so that we churn out many Kenyans who are skilled, many Kenyans who can do some of the things that we import. Right now, we're importing even roads from China. We are importing everything, basically everything. Things that can be done in this country if we had the right skills, if we had the right qualified people. We will find no reason why we need to invite Chinese to build bridges when we can do it ourselves, Mr. Speaker. So I think it's a priority if we are serious about going to Singapore, which I hear every day. We are not going to go to Singapore by building roads, many of which are driven by the corruption interest. We are going to go to Singapore by investing in our people, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker. Why am I saying that? If, for example, we increased our budgetary allocation in education, and we made education free in this country, Mr. Speaker, we will produce enough graduates who are skilled in all manner of fields, and we will not need to import people to come and do some of the jobs that we do in this country, Mr. Speaker. We have a lot of young people in this country, if well trained.
There is no Mr. Speaker.
Sorry, Madam.
That's the last warning to senators.
This disease started in the morning.
To Madam Speaker as Mr. Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but this disease started in the morning from my senior brother, Aluale. So you can know where it's coming from.
What's the point of order, Senator Hezena?
Madam Speaker, is it in order for the Senator for Vihiga County to mislead the House that indeed investing in roads is not investing in the people. For some of us who come from very marginalized parts of this country, without roads, we know the detrimental effect of not having proper infrastructure to connect citizens to basic needs across the country. And so, Madam Speaker, I think on a statement of fact, he is misleading the House. Thank you.
Honorable Senator Osotsi, for purposes of clarity and good communication, can you rephrase your argument to ensure it captures the feelings and the understanding of the need for infrastructure as an investment into people, as proposed by Senator Hezena?
Madam Speaker, if you understand English, then you will understand the meaning of the word
Everybody
priority.
here understands English. The Speaker understands English. Senator Hezena understands English. Just a point of confirmation.
I said priority should be on education. Priority should be on education. Meaning that roads are important,
let me guide you.
They are not a priority.
Senator Osotsi,
against education.
Senator Osotsi, let me guide you. The reason why you are having a challenge with Senator Hezena is the approach you are taking in your communication. Even in your response, you begin your sentence with, if you understand English. Of course, every senator here understands English. So can you do clear communication in proper English?
Madam Speaker, so that I don't waste my time, I want to say that priority, Madam Speaker, priority is...
Honorable Osotsi, hold on. What is the point of information, and would you like to be informed by Senator Madago?
Senator Madago, you know, is a former governor who was involved in education issues. He can inform me.
Senator Madago, please inform him and inform him adequately.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I just wanted to inform Senator Osotsi that the current administration has actually doubled the funding to education from a tune of 350 billion to the current 700 billion Kenya shillings. And has also employed, for the first time since independence, this government has employed 100,000 teachers, Honorable Speaker. A clear indication that this government is investing in its people, not for now and in the future, and that is why we even have a sovereign wealth fund.
What is your point of order, Senator Cherargei?
Madam Speaker, I rise under Article 7 of the Constitution. Because Senator Osotsi saying Senator Lemaletian, if she understands English, is unconstitutional. Is made in bad faith because under Article 7 of the Constitution, the national language of the Republic is Kiswahili. The official languages which is used here on the floor of the House of the Republic are Kiswahili and English. And then it says, in fact, it goes ahead, apart from English and Kiswahili, which are official, we also use Kenya Sign Language or Braille or any other communication formats and technologies accessible to persons with disabilities. So the only languages that are allowed under Article 7 to be used officially is English, Kiswahili, and Sign Language. So he's totally out of order and he must apologize. He can say those statements in Linda Mwananchi or Linda Tumorali somewhere in Narok.
Senator Osotsi, would you like to be informed by Senator Hezena?
Madam Speaker, you know, these point of orders are meant to waste my time.
Your time is posed.
You asked me to clarify, and I've clarified and said priority should be on educating Kenyans. That's my clarification. So allow me to proceed with my contribution, Madam Speaker.
This is to make Senator Joyce, can you hold on? Clerk, can you pause his time and return his minutes so he does not use them? So, Senator Osotsi, you can proceed. Do you want,
Madam Speaker?
Do you want to be informed by Senator Hezena from her wealth of experience?
Madam Speaker, I've had so many information from members. Let me proceed.
Proceed.
Let me proceed. So, Madam Speaker, what I was trying to say before I was interrupted, that education is so important to the country that it should be given priority in budget making. I appreciate that the budget has increased to 28%, but we can put more money in education so that we make education basically free. And that would be the most important gift we can give to Kenyans, because with education, as Senator Muma has said, it becomes an equalizer, so that many other things that indirectly rely on education will also be have a multiplier effect on those other things. And I was giving an example that why would we import skills, for example, in road constructions, when we can train our people, our engineers, to be very world-class engineers, so that we spend less money in road construction, for example, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, even ICT, where I belong, this big ICT institution like Safaricom, why would they, for example, import experts from China to do things that if we improved the capacity of our own local ICT engineers, we would reduce the cost of doing that, and that will have a multiplier effect on our education. So my view is that education is such a critical aspect to our life that the government needs to consider making education free by increasing budgetary allocation to that sector, and then the other things will flow in, including the things which Senator Cherargei is always very protective, the things of going to Singapore. We can go to Singapore through software, not necessarily hardware. We have to look at these things, software and hardware. What do we need to invest in? It is not necessarily brick and mortar. We can invest more in health so that we have a healthy society. We can invest more in education so that we have an educated society, and therefore everything else will flow. Madam Speaker, even talking about investment in education, we have a lot of money in this country. What we are lacking is just appropriate allocation, Madam Speaker, and wastages in government. Madam Speaker, it doesn't make sense at all that one institution in government or a small office in government can be given 17 billion. What do they need that money for? When we are talking about underfunding of education, when we are talking about collapse of our universities in this country, our universities are collapsing because of funding, and yet we are putting money in places where ordinarily we should be saving money, Mr. Speaker. So that is why some of us, when we question this myth of saying we are going to some other small country in the Asia, and yet we cannot make quick fixes to our software including education, including health, then we are lying to ourselves and basically not moving in the right direction. So the point I want to say, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, that this motion is timely, but how I wished we looked at the entire education sector and try to make sure that education is prioritized, is properly funded, and not just primary or secondary education, but also tertiary education. Madam Speaker, for example, the technical training colleges. It was a good concept. No, I still have time. It was a good concept, Madam Speaker, but our vocational training centers in the counties are dying. They have actually died. Like in my own county, most of them are died. There is nothing much happening there. We would want the government to revert back to the old approach of co-funding of vocational training centers, so that a lot of young people in the villages who cannot go to colleges or universities can have a chance to go and learn skills like masonry, carpentry, metalwork, and all that. And that can help them in their villages to sustain themselves.
What's your point of order, Senator Hezena?
Madam Speaker, again, it is on a point of a statement of facts. You know, I really respect our ranking member, the distinguished senator from Vihiga. But is it in order? Okay, thank you for that correction. Madam Speaker, is it in order for the senator for Vihiga to allege that Singapore is a small country when its GDP ranks way higher than Kenya's GDP? And also, it is important, Madam Speaker, for him to restrict his arguments to maybe the confines of Western Kenya. Because, Madam Speaker, when he talks about priority areas, as much as education is very important in our country, there are other very dire priority areas, like access to that education is a huge problem in Samburu. Madam Speaker, secondly, there are people who are starving in some parts of Kenya for lack of a basic commodity like water. Dams are a priority in some parts of Kenya, Madam Speaker. It is important that he bases his arguments on facts and speaks as a national leader, as the deputy party leader of the Orange Democratic Movement. Thank you.
Hezena,
Madam,
what was your point of order based on?
Madam Speaker, it was based on a statement of facts by referring to Singapore, which we aspire to go as Kenya, as a small country.
Senator
It's not a small
Hezena,
country.
when you rise on a point of order, you should always state what standing order you are rising on. We know that is a standing order 105. And Senator Otsotsi, you can proceed and respond to that and continue winding up your submissions.
Madam Speaker, you know it's important that some of these members learn from us, but that was not a point of order. Let me proceed. Madam Speaker, I was saying that it is important that we relook at our budgetary processes so that areas of wastages, areas of unnecessary budget allocation should be re-examined so that more funds are put in critical sectors like education and health. In that way, this country will make progress. And fixation on issues of brick and mortar should not be the approach. The approach should also look at the software aspects of our lives, and that includes education and health. Mr. Speaker, I support, but as I earlier said, how I wish this motion was making a resolution that the House resolves and not the House urges, because we do not want to waste our time here discussing very good things which no one implements, Madam Speaker. I support.
Thank you. Otsi, and once again, I am not Mr. Speaker. Please remind yourself and remind yourself again. I might not excuse it again. Senator Kisang William.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll not repeat the mistake that has been done by my colleague, because you're my neighbor here. Madam Speaker, as I rise to support this particular motion, maybe for the motion not to become a talk show, because what we are doing now basically is a talk show. And we used to do a lot of this talk show, both in Senate and National Assembly, because when you say we urge, you know that urging, as soon as we vote on this particular motion, it will go nowhere, because even the implementation committee, which is basically the standing committee on education, will do nothing, because the House will not have resolved. I wish maybe the move of the motion, if you would be allowed maybe to redraft it, so that we resolve as a House to ensure that our teachers who are training in teacher training colleges are included in the funding model. And even the funding model, Honorable Speaker, to be renamed. We changed the name from universities funding model to higher education funding model, because this particular model is benefiting those in the university, TTC, should benefit those in teacher training colleges, should benefit those in KMTC, and also our DVETs and national polytechnics, Honorable Speaker, because those, especially those who are going to teacher primary colleges, Madam Speaker, most of them are from very poor background. I saw you were very surprised that when Senator Muma was speaking, up to actually 1990, all those who went to the university, even those who were in teacher training colleges, they used to pay nothing. P1 teachers, diploma teachers, and the universities. Students were not paying anything. They were being fed, they were being accommodated, they were being given a stipend, which we used to call boom, Madam Speaker, which was 5,040. And if you divide 5,040 by 4, it was more than 1,000 a month. And primary teachers then used to earn like about 800. So basically, somebody who was in the university was earning more than a teacher that time. And we can't go back to those days because now numbers in the universities, numbers in colleges have increased. We have more students, we have more universities. Maybe what we need to do to also alleviate the financial crisis in our universities, Madam Speaker, is we need to go back. We need to reintroduce Model 2, Madam Speaker, because I remember in the early 2000, after around 2012, 2014 or so, Madam Speaker, the parallel program in our public universities used to support the universities. The universities were not dependent on the exchequer. They were not dependent on treasury because they were getting money by the parallel program, Madam Speaker. Because there are some parents who are endowed, they are willing to pay extra, because if your child is called to a particular course, but they can still qualify to do a different and more competitive course, then the parents can be allowed to pay for them using Module 2, Madam Speaker, which will assist, which will ensure the universities have own source revenue that will support the universities, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, University Higher Education Loans Board also needs to, I don't know what they need to do, because they need to sit down, devise ways of ensuring those who have gone, who have benefited from Higher Education Loans Board loans, Madam Speaker, repay. Some of them, those who have benefited, they just repay them. They pay off, maybe when they are we are seeking for positions, political positions, or when they apply for positions that requires clearance from Higher Education Loans Board. They need to devise and find ways of ensuring those who benefited from the loan, both who are within the country, doing business, or employed, or even out of the country, so that they continue repaying the loans. Because this particular loan, Madam Speaker, was supposed to be a revolving fund, which was expected after a while. The exchequer, the National Treasury, was not supposed to fund them anymore. It was supposed to fund the Higher Education Loans Board by resources that they will have gotten from those who benefited in the past. And they have not achieved this. So it means there are some systemic issues within Higher Education Loans Board that they need to relook at, get a good system to follow up those who benefited from the loan, Madam Speaker, so that they don't have to go to Treasury for additional resources. They should be having enough. They also need to partner with the counties, because in our committees, both CPIC and CPAC, Madam Speaker, most of the counties are giving out loans to university students, to college students, and they are unable to make recoveries because they don't know what to do. They can partner with Higher Education Loans Board, and then the Higher Education Loans Board gets a percentage of agency, which will boost the income, Madam Speaker, that they can give to the students. Madam Speaker, sometimes I don't know why we left the primary teacher students in the TTCs from this particular funding model, because most of them are from very poor backgrounds, especially because in the recent past, our National Assembly MPs, most of them have opened up teacher training colleges across the constituencies. So it means the reach to go to the colleges it's within the areas. And most of these rural constituencies, Madam Speaker, most of the children are from poor background. They cannot afford to pay this particular school fees. That's why we are saying it is important that they are included in the university funding model, which we are saying we change it to higher education funding model to benefit them, Madam Speaker. So that at least, you know, our teachers, they don't get turned away from colleges. When exams are nearing, they are told to go back and look for school fees, and they don't have, and the bursaries, both from the county and the constituencies, might not be enough. In fact, there was a motion here, Madam Speaker, that we should have pursued it and even converted it into a bill, Madam Speaker, where we said all the bursaries, the presidential bursary, bursary from CDF, bursary from the counties, can we put all of them, including the Higher Education Loans Board resources, we put them in one place, and then we make education free in Kenya from all the way from primary to colleges, so that this issue of classifications should not have arisen, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, people have complained about the mean testing. So maybe it's also important that we ask the Minister of Education to relook at this particular system. What is this mean testing? What are you looking for? Because it's very easy to also follow up. If a child was in a public primary school, went to a public secondary school, and they've been supported all along, maybe by well-wishers, they've been supported by bursaries. So these are the things that you need to look at. Because sometimes, Madam Speaker, you know, when a student is putting maybe these parameters in the system, some of them, you can say you have a cow. You know your parents have 2 cows. And maybe one of the cows, you cannot get more than 2 liters. Is that really something that you can say it's a cow? And there's a cow that is maybe, it can give you 20, 40, 50 liters. And that is maybe worth about 150,000. And there is a cow that is about 15,000. If you sell that particular cow, then what happens? So these are, they need to relook at these parameters where they are looking at to achieve a mean testing for each of the students, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I know those days, those of us who went to the university free, when it was still free, but it was not really free, because I think the loan was very minimal, because some of us, we cleared the university around 91, we still paid. Because I remember from 1990, then that particular time, they changed, and we went to KCB and other banks to collect our boom. But before then, they used to bring cash to the universities, and then you go to the nearest bank. Was it Post Bank? You are given a pass where every time you withdraw, they deduct what you have withdrawn. Kalwale is looking at me because he also went through the same process, but it was not free. But eventually we paid. And I want to report to this house that I'm among those who has cleared. I paid about 56,000 for the 3 years I was in the university. So it's also important. We urge our friends, Kenyans who are listening to us, please, if you benefited from Higher Education Loans Board, start paying if you have not paid, so that the children of Kenyans from poor background can benefit, because government was able to help you. Please pay your debt so that those who are in need may be able to benefit. I remember, Madam Speaker, before going to the university, we had to go through youth service en route to the university. And it was part of discipline, ensuring that, you know, those you go to the colleges, they instill discipline in you, so that by the time you are finishing also, you are all-round Kenyan, Madam Speaker. So basically, let's relook at this, because currently the budget for Ministry of Education stands at 28%. The 4-point-something trillion that we are saying we have in the budget, half of it is going to be debt. What basically remains is about 2.7. 700 divided by 2.7 is close to 30%, which is basically 28. So we need to devise ways of ensuring we raise funds for our education system, so that it becomes an equalizer. There are people, some of us, our parents never went to school. We didn't have resources to go to school. It was courtesy of higher education loans board, and I mean the government, that we are able to go to the university and get employed and go back to the society and assist. In fact, for your information, some of us used what we used the so-called boom to pay school fees for our siblings. Now, how about those who are poor now in the university? They are being chased away from class. They can't even afford to eat a meal, ugali and boga. They can't afford. So let's relook at this particular issue and let us reward the motion so that this thing becomes implementable. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Thank you, Senator Kisang. We are almost, the motion, the time intended for the debate on this motion is almost expiring because it's intended to take 3 hours, so we have very little time before we close out on that. And I have 3 requests and need time also for the mover to reply. So maybe is to ask senators to exercise, because my option is to cut down, to cut back when time expires for the debate. So maybe the senators the senator who takes up should consider the rest of the requests and consider their colleagues to share that time. Otherwise, from my seat, I will cut back when time is up. Senator Agnes Mudama.
Madam Speaker, nashukuru kwa kunipa hii nafasi ya kuchangia huu mjadala wa Bwana Nyutu, Senator Nyutu. Kwanza nikikupongeza kwa kuleta huu mjadala kwa maana ni wa muhimu sana. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nataka kusema walimu ni watu wa muhimu sana katika serikali yetu ama katika taifa yetu ya Kenya, kwa sababu kama hakuna walimu hatuwezi kuwa na spika kama wewe ambaye unaweza kuketi hapo na kuongoza ili bunge la seneti. Hatuwezi kuwa na hata president, hatuwezi kuwa na maseneta kama sisi. Kwa hivyo walimu ni watu wa muhimu sana, na ningeomba Madam Speaker, huu mjadala ama hii motion iweze kuangaliwa kwa utaratibu sana, ili walimu pia nao ama wanafunzi wa vyuo vya walimu waweze kupata boom kama vile wale wengine wanapata, ya kuweza kuwasaidia. Madam Speaker, wacha nikuambie uwazi kabisa ni kwamba tunapata simu nyingi sana kutoka kwa wanafunzi wa vyuo vya walimu wakitaka tuwalipie, na mbali unajua kama sisi maseneta hatuna pesa za kuweza kulipia wanafunzi wowote school fees. Lakini Madam Speaker, ningeomba sana hao walimu ama wanafunzi wa vyuo vikuu vya walimu waweze kupata pesa kama vile wale wengine wote wanapata kutoka kwa vyuo vile vingine, kutoka mpaka TVET wanapata, na mpaka wanafunzi wa secondary school wanapata. Na sijui hao walisaulikia wapi, na ni watu gani hao walikuwa wanatengeneza hii mambo ya kupatia watoto pesa za kuweza kuendelesha kwa mafunzo ya elimu walikosa. Madam Speaker, wacha niseme ya kwamba hatufai kuwa tunapatia wale wengine wote pesa za kuweza kuwasaidia kusoma, na hawa ambao ni wa colleges za walimu hatuwezi kuwapatia. Na sijui hii ilipitia wapi. Na Bwana Senator Nyutu, na kushukuru sana kwa kuleta huu mjadala, kwa sababu hii kama itaangaliwa vizuri na hii kamiti ya walimu na waweze kuinclude hii itasaidia sana 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 sana, kwa sababu wanafunzi wetu wa vyuo vikuu vya walimu wataweza kusoma bila matatizo kama vyuo vile vingine vyote, na wataweza kusaidika, na tutaweza kuwa na walimu wengi zaidi, na elimu pia itaweza kusonga mbele sana zaidi na zaidi. Mimi ningesema hata wangeweza kuongezewa, na especially wale wanatoka kutoka kwa familia maskini sana, waweze kuangaliwa hata wakiwa kwa hizi vyuo vikuu.
Senator Agnes, no, Senator Agnes, just take your seat now. It's time for the mover to reply, and the mover is persuaded to donate some of the minutes to the two remaining senators. Resume your seat, Senator Agnes. Proceed, Senator John Nyoto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And just like you have indicated, we have two senators online, that is Senator Consolata and Senator Bonnie Halwale. And Madam Speaker, because I do not have a lot to say as I reply, Madam Speaker, allow me to donate 5 minutes to Senator Consolata and 5 minutes to Senator Bonnie Halwale, respectively, and then I'll take another 5 minutes. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Nyoto, for that consideration. Senator Bonnie Halwale. Stick to your minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in a condensed fashion, the country remembers that in 2003, the biggest change that took place after election was the announcement by President Mwai Kibaki that there shall be free primary education. And 1 million Kenyan children came from nowhere and joined school. That was leadership. Madam Speaker, fast forward 2022, the biggest announcement that came was that we will have the new funding model and solidifying the competency-based system of education. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, the new funding model and the competency-based curricula have both failed completely. And Madam Speaker, it's a shame that the failure of CBC has resulted in the loss of free education that we are having in this country, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have to accept and be the adults in the room and accept that our oversight role demands of us to call out when things are not being done right. Madam Speaker, the top 8 African economies, from South Africa, Madam Speaker, to Egypt, to Algeria, to Nigeria, to Morocco in position 5, and Kenya in position 6, and Angola and Ghana in 7 and 8, in all those top African economies, education is free. It's only in Kenya, which is one of those countries, that we do not have free education. What are we planning for our youth? Madam Speaker, I know that the biggest argument has been the growing population of children. Please, those people who are propagating that misinformation must stop, because South Africa, free education, they have a bigger population than us. Egypt, free education, their population is in hundreds of millions. Nigeria, free education, their population is over 200 million. We are visiting a crime against a generation, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the long and short of this challenge is that we have enough money, even the 28% that is allocated to education is enough. but it is subjected to financial mismanagement and corruption, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, financial mismanagement, colleagues have spoken to it, this nonsense of bursaries, presidential, governors' bursaries, and CDF bursaries are just avenues for corruption. The country remembers that only last month, the Auditor General released a report which said 2.1 billion Kenya shillings has been corruptly handled by members of the National Assembly of Kenya. And nothing is moving. No action can be taken because the poor guys there cannot oversight themselves. And out of that, the Auditor General was able to single out actual CDF committees, and the heads of those committees are known. There is a report, there is in that report I have read, Madam Speaker, that the MP of Embakasi, I think Embakasi is west or central, the MP spent 62 million shillings training saloonists because those saloonists are voters. It's a shame. I support.
Thank you, Senator Boni. Senator Wakwabubi Consolata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for according me this opportunity to contribute towards this momentous or rather substantive motion by Senator Nyuthu. I'm a product of teaching, and I want to reiterate this point that teachers actually need a dignified lifestyle, and by looking at this motion, I think it is one of the avenues that will improve on their welfare, even as they join the teaching colleges. While I was growing up, I used to be told, and I quote, that teaching is a noble profession. Indeed, it is a sacred profession. It's a career of altruism because it is selfless. And I want to concur with what the rest of the speakers, honorable senators, have presented on the floor of the House today, because we are looking at an avenue to churn out a nation's human capital that is highly trained with a lot of quality presentations, because at times we compromise quality for quantity. So as a product of the same profession, I want to echo the fact that this inclusion aligns with the student-centered funding model, the goal that was intended for, to provide financial aid to the teachers, because most of them actually come from marginalized and minority areas. Some of them come from impoverished family backgrounds that are less privileged or underprivileged. So we want to echo that, and maybe as a house of legislation, although I stand to be guided and corrected, that if at this juncture we are able maybe to craft a subsidiary legislation to buttress this substantive motion. Otherwise, I want to support the motion by Senator Nyuthu, and also call upon the House and maybe the Standing Committee on Education and other related agencies that we look at the role of Articles 43(1)(f), the role of Article 53(1)(b), the role of Article 55(a), 56(b), and 54(1)(b) in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support the motion.
Thank you, Senator Consolata. Senator Nyuthu, you can proceed to reply.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Allow me to say that I am very pleased with the very rich contribution and support that this motion has received from members from both sides of the House, Madam Speaker. And I wish that we can have that unanimity in all the matters that we prosecute in this particular House, Madam Speaker, because most of them are of national importance, but because of partisan interests, sometimes you are not able to agree. So, Madam Speaker, allow me to say that the spirit in the support of this motion is something that I really want to appreciate. And, Madam Speaker, allow me also to say, to thank the members, all of them who have contributed to this particular motion. And, Madam Speaker, even some of the contributions that were made, actually, I had not even thought about them, because there are senators also who thought that we can think of funding even other institutions that have been left out, or other levels of education that have been left out in the new funding model of institutions of higher learning. And somebody, one of the members, Madam Speaker, mentioned the Kenya School of Law. Another member, Madam Speaker, brought in the issue of VTCs, although we know that VTCs are, of course, under county government. But I think, Madam Speaker, it was an eye-opener as the House charged with the responsibility of protecting counties and oversighting the same. That is something that we can consider looking at again, Madam Speaker, and generally to say that all of us are agreed that no learner should be discriminated against, because we'll be going against the spirit of Article 43 of our Constitution, Madam Speaker. And so we have also had an occasion to be corrected by some of the members that contributed, and although they threw the challenge, and I think specifically Senator Osotsi and Senator Kisang, that we should, going forward, say the Senate resolves and not the Senate urges, so that we can be able to have this implemented by the Implementation Committee, Madam Speaker. And so these contributions are very rich, and I think they were very informative to also yours truly. And, Madam Speaker, I think this is a motion that was very timely. And because I can see that the chair of Education Committee, Senator Betty Montet, is still in the House, and I thank her for staying through the contribution to this motion, Madam Speaker, I pray that she can do in the committee what needs to be done to see to it that we do not just urge the Minister of Education to implement this, but see to it that it is actually done. Madam Speaker, I have the benefit, I've been served with a list of members who contributed. And if you allow me, and if time allows, allow me to mention them. These are Senators Wahome Mamatinga, Senator Edwin Sifuna, Senator Danson Mugatana, Senator Johnston Mwaruma, Senator Karen Nyamu, Senator Catherine Muma, Senator Abbas Sheikh, Senator Godfrey Osotsi, Senator William Kisang, Senator Agnes Kavindu, Senator Boni Halwale, and Senator Consolata Wakwabub. Yeah, and so I want to thank those senators for contributing to this motion, Madam Speaker, and I want to say that this is the spirit that should guide us in our deliberations in this House, like I had said, Madam Speaker. Allow me to say that where we differed, Madam Speaker, of course we are about to differ, because we, each one of us, has their own heads, and of course they use their heads. Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I beg to reply, but ask and request you that because we may not have enough numbers, Madam Speaker, if you could deem it fit, pursuant to Standing Order number 63(3), I request that the putting of the question be deferred to a later date, Madam Speaker, to allow a situation where we'll have an adequate number of members to be able to answer. I have already replied, but I think I leave it to Madam Speaker. So I thought, Madam Speaker, I think I leave it to your discretion as per Standing Order number 1, Madam Speaker. If you know, the members that are urging me have just come in, but
Senator Nyoto, I think you have done justice to your motion. You have already replied to it, and that marks the end. You remember we did not have sufficient time, and we were winding up on the time available for that motion. And also to bring it to your attention that you as truly the Speaker contributed to that motion in your absence, and a few more senators. So that marks the end. The putting of the question is deferred. Next order.
Order number 23, the County Government State Officers Removal from Office Procedure Bill, Senate Bills number 34 of 2024, second reading.
That motion is deferred.
Order number 24, the County Government's Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 39 of 2024, second reading.
Senator George Bugwa is not present, so that order is deferred. Next order.
Order number 25, the Street Naming and Property Addressing System Bill, Senate Bills number 43 of 2024, second reading.
Senator Fatuma Dulo is not present. That order is deferred. Next.
Order number 26, the County Government's Law Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 52 of 2024, second reading.
Senator Kadhuri Murungi is not in the House, so that order is deferred. Next.
The order number 27, the County Government Laws Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 14 of 2025.
Senator Abdul Haji is not in the House. That order is deferred. Next.
Order number 28, the National Construction Authority Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 15 of 2025, second reading.
Senator Eddie Okech, he's not in the House, so that order is deferred. Next.
Order number 29, motion, reports of the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight and networking engagements in Kitui, Makueni, Machakos, and Kiambu counties.
Chairperson Health Committee, Senator Madago, is not in the House. That order is deferred. Next.
Order number 30, motion, delinking junior secondary schools from primary schools.
Senator Mwenda Gataya, not in the House. That order is deferred. That's the last order for the day. What's your point of procedure? Proceed, Senator.
Madam Speaker, I hope you will indulge me understanding order number 1. And the matter that I have waited to raise under Article 171, sorry, Madam Speaker, for I want so that my colleagues, 118, but let me start with standing on the number 1 on observations of. Madam Speaker, since I don't know whether you still sit in SBC, would it be in order for administrative purposes that your office would be kind enough to be putting note reminders to the people who have order on the order paper, colleague senators, so that they are aware? I have noted some colleagues have called me that they are now being aware that their matters are on order paper, and I know as SBC you have immense powers. I know, but it is just administratively to allow efficiency. Number 2, I raised under Article 118, and this is a constitutional matter, and I wish the distinguished Senator Okongo Omugeni and Senator Wambua would be patient. Under Article 118, the Parliament shall conduct its business in an open, and its sittings and those of its committee shall be open to public and facilitate public participation and involvement in the legislative and other business of Parliament and its committees. Number 2, I wish Senator Okongo Omugeni would be written Article 118(2), Parliament may not exclude the public or any media from any sitting unless in exceptional circumstances the relevant speaker has determined that there are justifiable reasons for the exclusion. Madam Speaker, since morning, and I'm happy you are in the morning session, you have noticed our screens, our gadgets has been malfunctioning for the betterment of morning sitting and afternoon sitting. Madam Speaker, this issue affected the live streaming in YouTube, Madam Speaker. And you know, if Kenyans cannot access, Madam Speaker,
proceed.
If Kenyans cannot access the live streaming, and I'm happy Senator Wambua is here, who is a long-term media guru and media practitioner, the fact that there was malfunction of our screens, and also if you notice the speakers and also the gadgets, Madam Speaker, under Article 118, it is impeding public access to the serious deliberations of the House. That is why, Madam Speaker, this access, unless there was a gag order or justifiable reason as Article 118(2) to prevent. So, Madam Speaker, I know this matter is administrative. Somebody can argue it's administrative, but it's not. It's a constitutional provision under Article 118. We must ensure that there is a public access to all the deliberations unless we are in camera. So, Madam Speaker, I know you can order administratively or give us the interpretation when we'll malfunction as a House and the YouTube is not live streaming or our social media outlets are not live streaming or Kenyans cannot access the discussions and deliberation on the floor of the House. Does it undermine Article 118? I know you can deal it constitutionally and also administratively, and I'm happy Senator Okongo Omugeni is also a commissioner in Parliamentary Service Commission. So I thought, Madam Speaker, somebody can wish it away, that it doesn't matter. But it goes back to Article 118, which is a constitutional access or public access to the deliberations and sittings of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Not only the Senate. And you know, Madam Speaker, under Article 10, on principles of national values and principles of good governance, one of the tenets, Madam Speaker, is openness, public participation, point of order, law and order, Madam Speaker. So I will need that to be... Point of order. Madam Speaker, I will need, there should be an open, the democracy, Madam Speaker. Point of order. Just can I canvass Article 10? These are constitutional matters.
Okay. What's your point of order, Senator Omugeni?
Madam Speaker, before you allow a matter to be canvassed the way it's being canvassed by my good neighbor, Senator Fernandi, the facts should be undisputed. I don't know how Senator Cherargei has ascertained that our transmission this morning was not on YouTube, that our gadgets were malfunctioning. I was indeed somewhere and I was watching the proceedings of Parliament live this morning. So before he's allowed to proceed the way he's proceeding, can he table evidence before the House to indicate that the gadgets malfunctioned this morning, that Kenyans were not receiving live transmission of the proceedings of today morning? Otherwise, you know, Madam Speaker, you'll be dealing with rumors. Anybody can rise here and address Parliament and say, we are not live on YouTube. Let us know from Senator Cherargei, on what authority is he telling you, Madam Speaker, that we were not live on YouTube? On what authority? What evidence does he have that he can table before the House this afternoon that can convince you beyond reasonable doubt before you address that issue that we were not live on YouTube today? Because this is not a house of rumors, Madam Speaker. When you rise up and raise serious issues like this, especially when I'm not in the right mood, because, Madam Speaker, you know, the railway line that was meant to pass through Nyamira has been diverted to Sotik. And then from Sotik, we are being told we should just watch as it passes through Kericho to Sondu, then to Kisumu. Those are the issues we should be deliberating as a house, not telling us issues of us not being on YouTube, Madam Speaker. Those are the things I want to hear as a representative of the people of Nyamira, Mr. Speaker, that what has happened. We pay taxes like anybody. The people of Nyamira pay taxes like anybody, Mr. Speaker. And if you want to develop a country, Madam Speaker, you connect counties. This railway should be called inter-county railway line, all the way to Malaba, Madam Speaker. There is no way you are going to develop the economy of this country if the railway passes through Narok, passes through the county of Bomet, Kericho, then you skip Kisii, you skip Nyamira. And the people are serious economic movers in this country, Madam Speaker. You know the tea that comes from Kericho, from Nyamira, from Kisii. You know the bananas we supply to Nairobi, the traditional vegetables called chinsaga that comes from Kisii, Nyamira, the avocados. It is unthinkable, Madam Speaker, that a railway line can leave Nairobi, pass through Narok, Bomet, Kericho, and then you skip Nyamira and Kisii. We are being told that we should watch it on our neighboring, we just watch it pass. I can't board it and alight in Nyamira, Madam Speaker. Sotik is not Nyamira, neither is it Kisii, Madam Speaker. If you want me to alight, Madam Speaker,
to guide you, Senator Mugeni,
Madam,
on the rail question.
Yes.
Because the question that you rose to respond to was on the streaming.
Yes, it's on the streaming.
You bring a substantive question or substantive motion.
But you know,
that's a serious issue.
This matter is a motive, Madam Speaker. This
but
matter is
it cannot be canvassed.
This matter is a motive within the
cannot be canvassed casually.
Even my mother, who is 86, she's wondering. This matter is being discussed in our local media houses every day. So when I have an opportunity, I have to speak about it. Even Senator for Kitui.
I understand it's a motive.
Know that that's an injustice.
I understand it's a motive, and Muranga could also
question. So to go back to the point I was making, Madam Speaker, is before you allow Senator Fernandes to prosecute the idea, the issue that he has raised, you need evidence that the assertions he's making are indeed factual before you allow him to go on record that we were not live on YouTube. If not, you ask him to first tender the evidence before he misleads the House that we were not on YouTube today. Yes.
Before I respond to what you have submitted on, I'll give Senator Enoch a chance. Then I will respond to.
You know, Madam Speaker, today I had the opportunity to move a motion on a report on artificial intelligence. And I was very sure that the whole world was following what we were doing because we were doing a good job. There were disruptions, Madam Speaker, on the screens inside the chamber, and members raised issues. And Madam Speaker, because I was moving into the floor for the next order, I approached the clerks on the table and asked whether really, Madam Speaker, Senator Tabitha is disturbing the flow of my thoughts by engaging in a way that is unbecoming.
Senator Senator Enoch Wambua, I recommend that you focus on your submissions
It's
and
not-
ignore Senator Tabitha. Senator Tabitha,
You saw what she
avoid
did,
distracting.
you have just seen the
Proceed,
gestures she has made.
Senator
Madam
Enoch.
Speaker. Madam Speaker, you just seen the gestures that she has made. That makes it even worse. But if you
Focus, Senator Enoch.
But if you insist that I persevere, I will persevere, Madam Speaker, and bring to the attention of Senator Cherage that when I personally approached the clerks on the table on the matter of the live streaming, Senator Cherage, you need to hear this.
Okay, sorry.
That the clerks confirmed to me that the interruptions were just internal. That the live streaming was taking place. And unless then Senator Cherage has additional evidence, then, or maybe he was not in the chamber, I don't know. The people of Nandi elected Senator Cherage to follow proceedings from the floor, not on YouTube, Madam Speaker. So if Senator was, the people of Nandi have a right to have their senator follow proceedings and participate on the floor of the House, Madam Speaker, not to follow proceedings online on YouTube. So if that is what he was doing, then he can confirm to us that he was not in the chamber. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
To have a point of order on top of a point of order.
Madam
Just resume your seat so
Can I
that
respond on a few
I
issues
can
that they have
give
raised?
direction on this matter. You have raised two issues. You have raised two issues. Senator Cherage, what is the problem now?
Madam Speaker, you know very well one of the active and industrial senators of this session is yours truly. I even asked about Wate, I was asking about Kapsabat Stadium, and the CS was here. So if the clerks, and I will demand the following, Madam Speaker, before you rule, because one is what Senator Okongo Mugeni has said. I will demand that an IT audit be done, because what happens in this house, when there is a disruption of live stream, they upload. Number two, I have had my senior, under Article 180, it is a constitutional matter, saying that it is an issue. It is an issue because when he speaks about the railway going to Kisii and Nyamira, those people in Nyamira cannot come to the Senate, all of them. They must follow somehow. And by the way, Madam Speaker, for his information, Kenya has the highest access to internet in Africa, followed by Nigeria and then South Africa, Madam Speaker. While I agree the issue of railway, which I want to, I saw Honorable Matiang'i discussing, I want to ask Senator Okongo Mugeni if he's gracious enough. I'm willing to go with him to State House. We sit with the President. We ensure that the SGR, Madam Speaker, passes through Nyamira and Kisii. Because, Madam Speaker, can you protect me from the senior counsel? Can you protect me?
Senator Cherage, can you finish your submission on the earlier point?
Correct. That is why I'm saying, if Senator Senior Counsel Okongo Mugeni is saying Article 118 should not be a priority, I want the people of Nyamira and Kisii to see when Senator Okongo Mugeni is saying that the railway should pass, it should be in public, Madam Speaker, and that is what I'm arguing. Finally, Madam Speaker, I will be demanding through your office that the IT audit be done of the system, and even the OAG can do it, Madam Speaker, you know very well. Because what happened, if there was internal disruption of live proceedings, Madam Speaker, it will affect, and I know Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit will upload the answered later. So my argument is, under Article 229, the Office of the Auditor General can do the IT audit of the Senate answered, so that my assertions is very correct, because at least Senator Wambua has said there was internal disruption of the proceedings, which is a serious matter, contravening Article 118. But to appeal to Senator Okongo Mugeni, who is a member of ODM and a broad base, I will go with him to the State House. we'll solve a small matter of ensuring the SGR passes Kisii and Kisumu, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I raise my case and I request for favorable ruling on this matter. I know it's an administrative issue, but it is very critical for the country because these proceedings should be open and accessible to public through any platforms, either physically or online or through TVs, Madam Speaker. And we thank Kenya Broadcast Corporation, KBC, for tirelessly ensuring that proceedings from Parliament are accessible to Kenyans across the country through KBC. I yield back, Madam Speaker, and request the Senator we can go to State House after this.
Honorable Charadige. Give Senator Onyonka 1 second, 30 seconds.
Today,
sorry, Senator Omugeni. I apologize for that.
I've been christened Senator Onyonka. Madam Speaker, you know, we were at university with you. And Senator Onyonka has never been to that school of law where we were with you.
Apologize for that. It's Omugeni.
Yeah, but you know, Madam Speaker, the people of Nyamira, people of Kisii region, I'm sure they are watching these proceedings, or they will access these proceedings from YouTube. It's not proper for Senator Cherargei to mislead the people of Nyamira, the people of Kisii, that the only way the railway line will traverse through Nyamira or Kisii is only if I go to State House and kneel before the President. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, that is not right. We deserve, Madam Speaker, access to the usage of the railway line the way my brothers in Bomet, in Kericho, in Narok deserve it. Mr. Speaker, when the President raised the Bible, when he was being sworn in,
there is no Mr. Speaker here.
Sorry, Madam Speaker. The President swore, Madam Speaker, he raised the Bible with his right hand and said he will serve all Kenyans. Madam Speaker, when KRA levies taxes, it does not exclude people of Nyamira or people of Kisii. We all pay taxes equally. So, Madam Speaker, the issue of the railway, we just want fairness. We want that development to extend to all counties, Madam Speaker. All the 47 counties deserve equal access to the railway line as long as it is traversing in that region. So that should be very clear, Madam Speaker. And I want to tell Cherargei, we don't need to go to State, Senator Cherargei. I don't need to go to State House, and I will not go to State House to beg on behalf of my people what they rightly deserve. I will not, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Omugeni. Point is made. And yes, access is free to everyone without having to go to State House. But obviously, the State House also houses the President of the Republic of Kenya, and it's accessible to every Kenyan, including Senator Omugeni. But coming to the points that are raised, now, Senator Cherargei, maintain peace for now. I give direction on the two issues that you raised, that whether senators should, an administrative action that communicates to senators on what is on the order paper. I want to confirm that the order paper is always circulated 12 hours before any session, and it's the responsibility of the senators who have brought business to the floor of this House to ensure they are available during the session to execute their business without having to be reminded, because they have the mandate both from the electorate or from positions from where they have been sent to Senate to do. They have that responsibility, and they do not need to be coerced or pushed. They can actually take responsibility and prosecute their business. So on that issue, the order paper once circulated is good enough for the senators to read and come back to the sessions and make sure they are available during when the session is running. On the other question of whether we had transmission throughout and whether live transmission was happening, I want to confirm from the Secretariat that I am alerted. If you go to your phone even right now, there is a live stream running, and KBC is also running these proceedings throughout, meaning nobody has been disentitled from being able to access the Senate live proceedings. And so Article 118 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 has not been breached. There may have been interruptions, like Senator Enoch Wambua has said, when screens went blank for very few seconds on different occasions, but that did not affect the YouTube streaming. It did not affect the YouTube streaming and did not affect live streaming. So the article was not breached. Article was not breached. But finally, I want to request the PBU, Parliamentary Broadcasting Units, there should not be any excuse for not transmissioning throughout seamlessly and without interruption, both in Senate and outside, for the public to access what is happening in Senate. That then gives direction, so there is no need for audit unless you present evidence to the effect that live streaming did not happen and that Kenyans were not able to watch the proceedings in Senate. If upon presentation of that evidence from Senator Cherargei, that's the only time then an audit can be ordered, but not before. Senator Enoch, what do you want to clarify? Because I have rested the issue.
Madam Speaker, the issue is properly rested. Perhaps then the Commissioner, because you're seated with us here, Madam Speaker, the only thing that he can do for the benefit of all of us, because these are not decorations, Madam Speaker. Correct. There's a reason why these screens have been mounted. Perhaps then the Commissioner may take responsibility and report to the House, Madam Speaker, yes, the contractual agreement between ourselves and the service provider, especially on the issue of uptime. Correct. At the uptime for these screens, what is the agreed percentage? So, Madam Speaker, we don't have a situation like we had in the morning, where we have the Cabinet Secretary, yes, they are responding to questions, and there are people who are monitoring the screens, yes, and some of them turn yellow. Others, I don't know why yellow, specifically yellow, they are turning yellow, Madam Speaker. Others were turning some other funny colors. So let us know what the uptime is, because there must be something in the agreement that these screens must be, operational for the consumption of the audiences up to a certain percentage of the time, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Senator Enoch, this is a new system. The tidier way to manage it could be just to first ask the technical team to ensure we don't have those disruptions in the next sessions. And if they persist, then maybe we can dive into deeper issues of the contract that is there. So technical team, please up your game so we don't have any downtime during the proceedings. I think we have exhausted that issue. We allow it to rest. Only Senator Eddie Okech. You had an intervention?
Madam Speaker, mine could be an expert opinion, if it is important, Madam Speaker. And again, it is very tough and very difficult to rise on a matter that perhaps you pronounce yourself on, Madam Speaker.
Don't take that issue backwards.
I won't take it backward, but just because you have given directives that that perhaps the Commission and the technical team should be able to look at this issue and perhaps look at why this problem is persistent. Madam Speaker, if you look at the problem that we are seeing in this House, it's not just about persistency in terms of just transmission. It is a number of things. There is quality of pictures, which insinuate the technicality in the system itself. There is blank images that come in anytime that somebody is speaking. There is sometimes when the mics cannot go on.
And at my back, one is blank, another one is not blank. So what is happening here, Madam Speaker? Maybe we are dealing with a number of problems that perhaps I need to highlight so that we can know, because maybe, and I don't want to be presumptuous, maybe there is insufficient internet bandwidth for this streaming, so that you don't assume that because we are seeing blank images here, then that the outside one is okay. Because if there is a bandwidth problem in Parliament, then certainly there is a problem outside there. Or maybe also, Madam Speaker, there could be a network congestion because I've seen that there's introduction here of things like biometric, that we are seeing here. There is more technical things that have been put here. Can the technical team, perhaps through your honor, Madam Speaker, explain if perhaps we have got a network congestion in this Parliament, so that we don't necessarily look at only the multiple devices defectiveness that we're seeing in Parliament, Madam Speaker. Or maybe, Madam Speaker, when the Gen Zs attacked Parliament, the Wi-Fi signals became a problem. But Madam Speaker, we can't assume it. We need to be told what is the technical problem that is making things difficult to deal with this. And that's why, Madam Speaker, sometimes you don't do an audit because there's a problem. You do an audit because you want to have efficiency and effectiveness and just be able to pick where the problem is. And this is what I think the honorable senators are requesting for. And that audit can even be an internal audit. It doesn't need to be an external audit. Some of us can even also be able to volunteer some of our services, both in IT and on the technical side, on the audit and financial backgrounds, to help with that audit. But I think there's a lot of technical issues that we are seeing here, ranging from all those varieties that I've talked about, that we can be able to help with, so that we can be able to have a sufficiently run Parliament with the new systems and gadgets and devices that have come in Parliament. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Eddie. We know you're an expert in the subject matter, and I hope the technical team can take advantage of that information you have shared. And I'm sure all these offices are open. All these offices are open, so you can be able to access and assist. Thank you very much. That issue is now closed. We have already spoken enough, so we are done on that issue. Thank you very much. Honorable Senators, there being no other business on the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, 26 March 2026 at 2:30 p.m.